right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this fall edition of Let's Be Blunt. Your boy Mike Sims. It's been a heck of a few months, heck of a few weeks since I was here last time. Hope everybody's doing great, man. Got a lot of things going on in the industry. Been very busy. We opened store number 3. We're changing our name from Charlotte CBD to Crown Town Cannabis, which is very important. We had a grand opening out in Concord, our 3rd location. We got one coming up in Columbia, South Carolina, October 8th. We're going to do a rebirth down there, October 9th, doing a rebirth down in Columbia. And then coming up October 28th, we're going to be doing a rebirth / grand opening for our main store, the original Charlotte CBD, which we're also switching over to Crown Town Cannabis. And we're going to do a grand opening. We never had a chance to. We were too busy. It's not a bad problem to have. They were coming up on our 3-year anniversary at that store. And then we'll be having a rebirth launch party at both locations. DJ, food, giveaways, prizes, all that good stuff. But anyway, I want to start trying to do these every Thursday, feature different people from around the state, people in the industry. I got some great ones lined up. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it, so I got these guys. But nah, we got Drew Bowman here and Adam Ivers, and I'll let you guys,
Rivers without the first Ivers.
Right. So 2 great guys in the industry doing some great things. Met them a while back. I forgot how I met up originally, but
I don't remember how we met originally, but I remember you coming down, you, LA, Dan, all coming down, checking out the grow at Cooper Lake Cannabis. Yep. So that was a good time, the guerrilla style grow.
And you might remember a couple episodes back in the beginning, it was the house that was converted into a grow, and some beautiful product coming out of there, beautiful flowers still.
Thank you.
In the store. But, they also help produce some other things that we have at Crown Town Cannabis now. But anyway, enough about all that. So who wants to go first? Which one?
I'm making sure my check clears to be here first.
Yeah. So got them both in. They're doing some great things. I'm going to let each one of them tell you what's going on. And we got some products from them, too. Some of our candies and flowers and things in the past. But we'll continue to work together moving forward. And he's sitting there telling me some great things they're working on.
Absolutely.
But so we'll start with you, Drew.
Okay.
So how long you been in the cannabis business now?
So I believe it was like 2018 that I popped in. Originally, I was a high school English teacher for 5 years, and oddly enough,
Right.
and kind of took it on, paralleled with that in cannabis. Entered in by being a grower, got my license, started a farm, met Adam and Robin, owners of LongLeaf, as they were opening up the retail location in Winston-Salem, and started to purchase from them, resell under my brand that I was growing for as well. Just didn't have enough strains, had 2 or 3 strains, but my clients were wanting more, so met up with Adam. Ended up plugging some of their stuff in to my catalog. Did fairly well for a while, and then Adam approached me about joining up with them.
Yeah.
I didn't have the resources to honestly fulfill the amount that I was starting to sell. So
That's not a bad problem to have.
it was not. And ever since then, I've been with LongLeaf, and we've only grown and kind of evolved from there.
Natural succession, teacher to a drug problem. No. My sister's an educator too. I know how that goes. So
the kids loved it, man. They thought it was the coolest thing ever there.
So what is your brand? What is your brand particular? So is y'all combined now? You still got separate brands?
So I had 7 Island Hemp Company.
Okay.
And then I dissolved that.
Okay.
Joined in partnership with LongLeaf, became the sales director for them, and then used my license with our grow operation in Winston. So
Awesome.
You've got LongLeaf Provisions Company, but in Cooper Lake Cannabis, and then Twin City Treats, which is our newest brand.
Awesome.
All of that is under the umbrella of Apothecary & Co. So you've got Cooper Lake Cannabis as our indoor cultivation facility, retail LongLeaf Provisions Company and CBD brand, and then Twin City Treats, which is more of our D8 edibles,
Sure.
And D8 flower brand.
So you're a glutton for punishment too. Just more and more work.
Absolutely.
Less and
Just
less-
bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring
Less
it
and
on.
less sleep, insanity, and all that good
Absolutely.
stuff. So, what do you think? Where have you seen? How do you see the market? What have you seen it do in the last 2 years? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
Well, there for a little bit, it was touch and go with the ban on the flower. That was
Still
a huge
is.
thing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That still is.
For us,
Yeah.
and all that was going through because that was one of our main incomes was the indoor cultivation, wholesale of indoor flower. So that was really good that all went away, at least for the meantime. So we've been able to keep production up, and watching it evolve into legal THCs and other minors has really been amazing for us. So we've kind of spearheaded that by taking on Twin City Treats and going into the manufacturing aspect of all the edibles.
So you're looking to be fully vertically integrated in this whole thing.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So right now, I guess you could probably agree with me, you guys both. Delta 8 kind of saved this industry, right? Or access to other compounds of THC. So
it saved a lot of people too. I can't tell you how many people we have coming in on chemo swearing by the stuff, saying it's one of the only things that get them back to normal, help them eating and things like that, especially in North Carolina.
Right. Yeah, I just left one of my stores earlier, and a lady walked in, stage 4 cancer, and was coming in to find out about Delta 8. So, one of y'all want to touch on what is Delta 8? Anybody want to take that one up?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, Delta 8 comes from CBD isolate. I can't speak too much on the process, but it's a heating process from turning the isolate into Delta 8 THC. If it goes too long on that process, it turns into D9. Once it processes through your body, it turns into D9 either way, but as a product on the shelf, it can't be tested for it, which is good.
Right. Because that's the loophole we ultimately are working with right now is in order for anything to be considered hemp, it's supposed to have a THC level Delta 9 THC level of 0.03 or less. And everybody's kind of exploiting that, realizing there's no regulation on the Delta 8, THCO, THCP, D10, D11. So, whoops.
D11 is a wild one.
Right, yeah. So, we're just now starting to find these things and work with these things. And, again, it is quite the process of converting this. And I've done quite a bit of research and speaking to people in the industry and reading up on it. And it's a fairly safe, it's really safe process. But it is a bit of a process to get it to turn to that. And I think that's scaring some people. They're like, oh, you got to use acids and things. But ultimately, it's safe. It's done right. So make sure your COAs are up to date like these guys, like we do ours. But tell us a little bit about what avenues are we going now under this loophole, if you will?
So we're pushing the limits for sure.
Yeah.
We're writing the rules. We're writing the rules.
Absolutely. Somebody's got to do it.
So when we entered into the D8 world, of course, like everyone else, it started to make us some money. Started to look at the other minors. Our biggest things is we wanted to diversify the edible lines. Everybody does gummies. We do a ton of gummies. Love gummies. Would hate to see them go.
Gummies are great. We'll keep them.
Yeah.
But we did want to get some different products in there, so we did the taffies and the hard candies, which have really done well for us and done well for your stores as well. Some of the things that we are looking at now and actually producing already are THCO, which is one that people have a little bit more hesitation with because of the solvents that are used in the formulation of it. However, the labs that we work with are providing full panels that show that the solvents are no longer present in the minor at all, in the distillates. So we're doing THCO blends. We're also making a gummy that is 10 grams and 25 milligrams D9, but it shows up by weight to be 0.03 THC Delta 9 by testing. So it's another work around those rules. A little bit riskier.
Hey, that's what I tell people. Just tell us the rules so we can figure out how to break it.
Exactly. No. How we can work.
Oh, that's what I meant to
We're
say.
not breaking.
That's what I
them.
meant to say, of course. But no, it's I think when you really start getting into it, it's a cat and mouse kind of chase at this point, right? And I think both sides are a bit snarky and pissed off, if you will. One side feeling like they got duped. I think a lot of people voted hemp in thinking they're getting fibers or whatever out of it, not realizing there's real medicinal benefit.
Absolutely.
So, and I think they thought they were kind of getting over as we'll give you a little something as legalization, and I think the other group's you forgot a big part. So I see this cat and mouse thing. How do you? Everybody at this point, I think, is guessing. How do you see it playing out, the whole Delta 8 saga?
You know, here's the thing. I think that we have a real opportunity on our hands to help create some sort of framework and basic understanding of how we should be manufacturing these products, extracting them, and converting them over to these minor cannabinoids, and how we're properly putting them into the products. I mean, that's the key thing. You know, whenever you go to some of these pop-up shops that I might not go buy my Delta 8 from, you know, I'd love to see those COAs, but I think that's the most important thing in our lab right now is if we really take the time to work on the framework on how to properly handle this cannabinoid and how to get it to the public in a very safe manner and be able to track that chain of custody throughout the process. I think that's the key. If we can prove that we can do that, and have more testimonies on how this truly is helping the industry, not just the industry, but the clients purchasing it and the consumers. I think that that can only help us get to the point where we ultimately need to be, which is recreational. So,
see, I you know, idealistically, I think it, but I think ultimately, law enforcement's pissed, and you know, the lawmakers are pissed, and you know, they were, you know, this was about health and not getting high, if you will. But I guess a lot of people aren't realizing this so-called high is relief for a lot of people with the pain and everything. But I still think, you know, I never give the best outlook when it comes to law enforcement and politics. I think they're coming after it still. I think they're pissed off, but ultimately they're blocked. There's not much you can do. There's already a rule that says you can't produce synthetic cannabinoids. Yep. Right? But these aren't synthetic. They're naturally
occurring through
right. So that takes that away. So ultimately, from my opinion and legal opinion of what we've heard so far, it'll take an act of Congress to ultimately change this Delta 9 only deal. So anyway, it does work. It works well. I still don't think it would exist if we had full access. You know,
I think that the main thing is the tax revenue that they're needing out of it, because you look at OxyContin and stuff like that. You want to talk about the short high that you get off of this that's very mundane, and then you take OxyContin and see what that's doing in the community for
that
pain.
You can give it to children.
Yeah,
and that's why I never give the benefit of the doubt to politics or law enforcement. It's like no one's paying attention. I mean, still. We're talking about a plant that is still Schedule 1, and cocaine and heroin are Schedule 2. So, you know, with all that being said, it's we do have access for now. And I encourage anyone out there to try these products or our products with the Delta 8. My wife has a very sensitivity to Delta or THC in general, but Delta 8 is one of the only ones that help her stay calm and relax without the paranoia and the side effects and everything that a lot of people have with Delta 9. But, you know, myself included, I love it. It's like a functioning chill high, if you will, not you know, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch cartoons all day kind of high. Yeah. So it's cool, man. But so what is your most popular product right now then? Is it the THCO? Any of that caught on yet?
So those have been newer, the THCOs. We really have only focused on wholesale distribution on those, but yeah, we have sold a bunch recently. Delta 8's more recognizable, so it already had its hold. Give me a few weeks and I'll be able to tell you a little bit more.
Yeah.
From my experience with the THCO, 25 milligrams offered a little bit more of a euphoric feeling. I wouldn't say that it's stronger than Delta 9, but it has a different feeling to it, more of a hallucinogenic vibe. So tracers and things like that.
Yeah, because that's what when I was out in Vegas, they were saying one of them does the hallucinogenic deal. Like
that's the
okay. Yeah. What does the P do exactly? The THCP.
The P is supposedly just stronger than Delta 9.
Oh wow.
But it's more expensive right now.
I don't have time to try these things. I got stuff to do, man.
I haven't tried the P personally. We have it. We just haven't made any orders with it yet. Any manufacturing. I think they're coming. But it's one of those things where
and it makes me question the authenticity, because the kilos I've seen, it was like 240,000. Well, one of them I saw for one of them was, and I was like, if it really costs that much, there's no way a lot of this stuff out here.
Well, V is the most expensive.
That might be the one I saw.
I think I found $45,000 to $55,000 a kilo. And it is, you put 5 milligrams in a gummy, you can make it stretch. It gets expensive though quickly.
Yeah.
I love THCV. It's non-intoxicating, so you don't get high from it, but it's energetic. It's almost like, it's like an energy booster.
People say like a cannabis Adderall.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of
focus.
There's a lot of show to it being a cure for, or I guess we won't say a cure, but ailment reliever for
So you guys,
diabetes.
are you guys at this point growing everything for these, or are you still keeping the flowers separate?
I wish we could produce enough flower to do that,
I
but
figure it's hard to get.
our main focus with our cultivation is high-end boutique smokable
Right.
flower. That way they can get the medicine from the CBD and other minors that naturally occur in there the quickest way possible. So,
It's nice.
And then we just source distillate from labs.
Yeah, that's the best way to go,
Trusted
man.
ones, of course.
Yeah, because that's, a lot of people wonder, we have, they white label a couple products for us, and, we talked about manufacturing our own or whatever, but when you got people out here already doing it way cheaper and way better without the learning curve.
Thank you.
So like, know your place in the industry and in the world. If some people can't be good at everything.
it ties back to a lot of THCV, so you
Right.
can have, less sleep to be able to do all these fun
Right.
things, right?
Yeah, we're learning hard because everywhere we saw like a need, we're like, let's fill this need. We're realizing it takes more time and more money, and usually doesn't pan out for
Yeah.
more money. So this is the way it goes. So what does this industry need the most of right now? In both of your opinions, what do you think we're lacking?
Regulation, but not from government entities, in my opinion. I would love to see us come together as successful companies
Okay.
to really form what that regulation looks like in order to not only fight the smaller, tobacco stores type situations where they're selling who knows what from China,
Right.
but also to try to formulate how we can stay in the game once corporations come in, because it's going to be a big fight.
I think recreational is the obvious thing missing
Right.
right now in the
Right.
industry.
Yeah. Access, right?
Yeah. Outside of that, collaboration between
Sure.
different companies, like we're doing right here, like we
Right.
do with some of our friends at Celestial Wellness, Salem
Tyler.
Organic. We work with Queen City Hemp
Yeah.
Company, all of them.
Right.
As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I'm going to Queen Hemp after this to drop off some genetics, and
Yeah.
so I mean, we need to be
It's
collaborating.
it's all love, and I tell people that all the time. We worked so hard to get here. Once we got access, we started acting like crabs in a barrel. But I feel the market getting flooded again, and regulation, I think, is something huge that would take care of it. I don't mind an open market with plenty of competition, but when you have someone try a subpar product or a product that's going to make them sick, or a product that's not going to give them the effect they're looking for, that's usually going to be their one and only opinion of these products.
Yeah.
So that's what concerns me the most. But again, I feel the flood coming on like we did in the beginning. It's like everybody had a CBD shop, and then COVID happened, and it kind of thinned out. And
Now everyone has a Delta 8
now
shop.
everybody has a Delta 8 shop,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's everywhere. And I can tell you, man, it's not really cheap to make a lot of these products. So,
No.
but when you see them very cheap, you automatically got to go, okay, like it's something. It's
What's
something,
being used.
Yeah,
There's
what's
a
being,
reason why it's priced like
right.
that.
So, but yeah, I wish we did work more with each other. I was talking to Sean Teller. What's up, Sean? On the way in this morning, and I have the Hemp Retailers Association. We're talking about revamping it as the Cannabis Retailers Association, having
Nice.
like a real association with like where we all collaborate together and have events where we can see what's new in the industry, and also but have that representation.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we're not being represented at any level.
Not properly, no.
But and I can even tell you the movement for legalization in Charlotte, the normal chapter in Charlotte has dissolved over and over again. It's hard to get collaboration out of everyone, and then we got this garbage medical bill that
Yeah.
yeah. Anybody want to talk about that one? No.
I mean,
Hopefully, I don't think it's going to go through. I think they're out of time.
yeah.
But unfortunately, in North Carolina, you can only introduce bills on
To
odd
say
years.
to bring people from out of state in, I mean, what is
Yeah.
that saying to the
Right.
people who've been in the industry?
Yeah,
here
one of
for
the
how long?
stipulations,
Slap us in the face.
5 years in the in high THC medical growing
Yeah,
experience, and you have to have a 5-year resume, and you can't have one in North Carolina without breaking the law. Funny enough, so there's plenty of people out there available, but I don't think they can really put their resume up.
why wouldn't you want to keep all that in-house
Right.
in North Carolina?
It kills
rep
me.
your state?
And then there's only 10 licenses they're issue, and then from those 10 licenses, they get 4 dispensaries each. So you're talking about 40 dispensaries statewide.
Yeah.
And they basically recriminalize on the back end for trafficking anything over a half ounce or an ounce, which
Really?
is completely ridiculous. Very, very few things that it's available for, and there's a panel of people that have to meet and decide what it can be used for in the future and any other ailments that have to be
Yeah,
added.
what is it, like stage 4
Yeah,
cancer?
you basically have to be
you're
dead.
dead and
Here's a little sprinkle to make
yeah.
It's sickening, but hopefully that doesn't go through. But then again, now we're looking at another year that's going to go by with no
Without it.
access at all. Hopefully, something on the federal level will change soon. But yeah, man.
We have our partners to the north in Virginia trying to just go ahead and make it happen.
We're-
We are still.
I
still
think we're
complaining
all
about
right there
smokable
trying to
hemp,
do it.
right?
Yeah. I think we're trying to make it happen with Virginia too.
Absolutely.
And that's what. And I've straight up told some of the law enforcement people I've met with, that's right there along the border. I was like, look, whether you like it or agree with it or not, your border's about to be flooded.
Absolutely.
So now you're going to have to deal with it whether you want to or not. And instead of getting revenue from it, you're going to catch a small percentage and tie up your courts and tie up funding and everything else when you could just be benefiting from it. So it's absolutely hypocrisy to me, and it's ridiculous we're still fighting for this. But
Tie up the court system for this
Yeah.
versus, you can go drink plenty of beer and get blackout drunk,
Right.
but we want to sit there at the border and clog the court system instead of the bad people.
right, you touched on, talk about tobacco shops. I got a guy I was meeting with the other day, and we're going to have him on, local grower, been in the industry for a while, really doing some great things too. He wanted to open a shop in Harrisburg here locally, and ultimately they passed like a referendum overnight or whatever, basically an ordinance saying anybody that sells CBD or cannabis-based products are lumped in with, excuse me, tobacco. Thank you. Tobacco shops or vape shops, that they're going to lump them all in together. So they passed that, and they literally passed an ordinance overnight, so he can't even open his doors. So it's, little sneaky things like that. And the last, what is it called? The last stimulus bill, they put it in there that you had to be 21 and up to buy any vape cartridges, and you can't ship them through the mail. And now these towns are passing these ordinances lumping in CBD or cannabis products in with vape shops or tobacco products, which is completely unfair.
Yeah.
Because it's not even, it's not even close. So I think this time we got to try to come together and fight a lot of these things, because it's like not only are you fighting on a federal level, you're fighting on a state level, but also now counties and cities are starting to do things to push it out. So it's an absolute mess out here. But anyway, where's the future look like for you guys? What's on the pipeline? What's growing? What's happening?
Well, we're, I haven't been able, this is probably the first I've been able to get out in the public in a while and like meet with people. It's not necessarily
You look
COVID
great,
related.
man. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's, we've been going through a pretty big push at LongLeaf. 2.5, 3 years ago, we started as a retail shop, a high-end boutique cannabis shop, right? There was a lot of places like we've been talking about, the tobacco shops popping up all over town.
Right.
And Robin and I, we've loved cannabis for a very long time. And we said, you know what, let's put together like a craft boutique high-end where we're putting quality products to the market.
Right.
Through that, we met great connections, probably one of the best being Drew. That's why we brought him on the team as a partner into LongLeaf, which is soon to be Apothecary & Co. Holdings. We're kind of going through a re-corporate structuring, if you will, kind of breaking up all of our cultivation and retail shops and distribution and all that, trying to position ourselves for, the next leg if some sort of legislation comes through that gives us the opportunity to hop onto it.
Sure.
So we've been working through that, working through some marketing strategies, working on some new products. We still got probably 5, 6 more that we're going to be dropping throughout the rest of this year. So that's the biggest thing is positioning ourselves for the next round of growth, whether it be more cultivation facilities, whether it be more retail dispensaries, things like that. But we're just going through a big overhaul right now, prepping for that, and it's been great. Really looking forward to getting back out and doing more stuff like this.
No, that's right, man. Yeah, we've been slammed and crazy, just staying afloat and doing different things or whatever. We're trying to get licensing set up or whatever. I'm fighting something in South Carolina right now. I should probably a whole nother show, but basically we got permission to do an educational program down there for growing and extraction. Told them from the beginning exactly what we're doing and everything, including we're going to put the plants out at the windows so they can get daylight during the day or whatever. Well, I guess they got enough complaints or whatever. They literally changed the rules overnight on us and came in and said we violated, and we're going to use that as an example for the cops to come in and raid us. We found this all out because our license is under our attorney's name. So we're fighting for all that in South Carolina and everything. But, yeah, man, you talking about all the restructuring and everything. We're trying to make sure we do everything the right way, and we take a step forward and take 3 back is so frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
And then, business is hard enough, but you take in this industry, everyone's trying to take it from you. They're trying to overregulate it, underregulate it. it's like they designed it to fail. But
And
we're
then
still
you have
winning.
bad
Yes,
actors
we
coming
are.
in trying
Right.
to knock it down and put crappy
it.
stuff on the market.
That's it. And that, you know immediately how cheap can I get it? And just terrible labels. Who knows where it came from? Who knows what's in it?
You know, it's funny, all the people that I see still standing that are reputable brands, they didn't have that race to the bottom. They kind of maintained their
Right.
footing and stayed where they are. And I
Right.
think that recognition is being picked up by all the consumers now.
Well, I think it's the same thing as the black market industry. You know, you think growing up, getting cannabis before we had access, it was the people, the same deal. There's people out there who's out to get rich quick, would probably rob you, take you, short you, whatever. They were in, made their money, and gone. But over the years, there were people that remained that
Yeah.
were honest or whatever. And I think this will be the same deal. People want an honest shake, a good product, and I think they're willing to pay for a good product. But, you know, right now it's hard to tell. So ask for a COA with your products.
Yeah. That's why
And the
we,
QR codes.
we keep the QR codes all right there, proudly displayed on all
So
of
what
our
are these two products?
packages.
Talk about these real quick. These are two things we have in our store. Tell us what they are real quick.
I'm gonna let Drew talk about it. He's been our director of sales. He's really been in a lot of conversations with making sure all this stuff is absolutely perfect down to a T, and he's done a great job at it.
My face ain't honest. It ain't perfect yet.
I feel you. We'll make sure
Work
on the next
that.
label we do that.
Yeah, look.
So these are our 60 milligram D8 taffies. They were our newest ones, along with the 60 milligram candies. So 600 milligrams D8 per pack. We've had some folks, you know, eat the whole can and come to us and be like, "Man, that was stout." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so."
Yeah, they're delicious.
Huh, all 600 milligrams?
Right.
We've got 5 flavors in the hard candies and 4 in the taffies. When we make these for on large scale productions for other companies, we do any flavoring blends that they request. But as far as our brand, we've got orange cream, sickle, strawberry banana, cotton candy, and peanut butter and jelly for the taffies. And then the hard candies, we've got lemonade, blue raz, green apple, strawberry, and orange on those.
And that's the cool thing with those, doing those custom, you know, not only flavorings, but custom cannabinoid profiles within the products themselves. I've been listening to Drew on some of these calls talk about some of these really wild ones like CBN and D8, things like that, like a good sleep time.
We're about to do a three-part gummy for folks. We're gonna have a bliss, which is gonna be D8 THCO. We're gonna have a daytime CBD, CBG, and THCV, and then we're gonna have a nighttime, which will be CBN and D8 with that one. So pretty
That'll be
excited for
fun.
those.
Look
Yeah.
forward to trying all of those.
Absolutely.
It's kind of how it is anyway. I was like, wake up, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Gotta have it throughout the day.
Tincture, that's cool, man. That's
Some of the
really cool.
expansion that we're looking at, and I know you and I have talked about this as well as the hard candies. We just purchased a new machine to form, to get perfect sizes on each one.
That is good.
The taffy's kind of already there, and then we've also purchased a gummy machine that will.
So you guys are, so you're actually manufacturing these, so you are the white labeler then. Right. So that's really cool. I can't wait to try all these different ones different compounds, I guess you should call them. That,
Absolutely.
you know, again, it's back when we started this, people would send samples of CBD. It was easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I try this.
Yeah.
You try them all day, but you try 2 or 3 samples of D8, your day's over sometimes. So
Absolutely.
not everybody calibrates the same way. I guess.
And I just fired off the cuff with that, but it's important to note because this adds to, I guess, our trustworthiness that the folks that we are partnered with that are manufacturing the edibles have been making edibles for 50 years,
Nice.
just without THC involved.
Right.
And then we're approached with that idea, and then we distribute through that. So I'm not the one in there making your gummies. You're safe from that.
We're not the confectioner, so
Yeah.
to speak. We just we found some group of folks that do a really good job at their trade. We partnered up with them, and you know, here we are doing it. So yeah, they're great at it, and I love it. So
let's see. I'll ask both of you separately. First time you ever used cannabis, and what'd you think about it? We'll start with you, Drew.
I was 16, drove and met a few fellows that I knew from school on the side of the river. Got in the car, we lit up about 5 blunts, smoked every one of them. I was like, all right, I got to get out of this car.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting out of the car, and my buddy was driving me back, and I puked.
Nice.
So it wasn't the best, but the next day I went right back, and it was much better. So.
Yeah, jump back on the horse. What about you?
Absolutely.
What about your first time?
I remember like it was yesterday. Some people say I don't get high their first time. I was ripped. I was probably shouldn't say this on air, but 12 years old.
About the time, yeah, for me.
My cousin and brother and I told my aunt we were going to the movies. We were up in Cincinnati, so she gave us all a 20, and went and got a fat sack and met up with my cousin's friends up in Cincinnati, and I don't think we stopped smoking. We got back to my aunt's house, and she was like, "You boys hungry? I got some mint chocolate chip ice cream." I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go!"
Right.
So we're sitting there laughing the whole time, and she's like, "What are you boys laughing at?" And I was like, "I don't know. This movie's funny."
Yeah.
It's probably like Die Hard or some like
Right.
shooting action movie, but I'm just dying.
Sure. Yeah, I was wondering that too, because I always wonder people's first times, or some people wait till way later in life, but it was right after 6th grade, right after Dare Education or whatever.
Yeah, it made it look fun.
Yeah, man. And I remember like, damn, this is amazing. They are lying. This is, you know what I mean? So, but nah, it's we got a long way to fight. People ask me, I guess the number one question I get is, when do you think it'll be legalized? What's y'all's opinion? What do you think? Full legalization, adult access, medical, anything in North Carolina federally?
Federally, I'm saying 5 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Statewide, depends on how things go, but maybe 2 to 4. Like you say, though, if this medical goes out, we have to wait till next year. Because the thing is, once medical comes in, then it's a short time after that.
Right.
Recreational come. So
It just seems like a giant waste of time.
it does. It's like
Yeah.
this hurdle that they want to put in
Just
for
little
it.
incremental pieces.
And it's almost like they're trying to do it to set up the certain companies that they want to benefit off of it. You know,
Sure.
because those same companies will have money and already be structured in the infrastructure to move forward into rec.
That definitely, it feels like that to me too.
I mean, it's the old game of money and politics.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Which sucks, man, because this is a real opportunity. North Carolina has the opportunity to lead the country, I think, in this whole industry. There's plenty of talent in the state.
Absolutely.
I mean, it feels good
More
to be
than I
shipping
ever
hemp
knew
flower.
Right, yeah.
It feels good to ship hemp flower to Colorado, and the growers out there say, "Damn, that fires up." I
Right.
mean, North Carolina needs to step the game up and get moving forward
It's
with
true,
it.
man. A lot of stuff out there is truly like biomass.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of it's garbage. So I guess one more question for Buddy. What is your best situation you've seen turn around, or someone's life turn or around or change because of these products? You got a person in mind, the best miracle you've seen, the best case of why it should be legalized, anything like that?
Yeah, so for me, I guess it was like 2 years ago. I was working with a couple out of Pilot Mountain. They had a 3-year-old that had autism and was struggling really bad with communication, and they started using a full spectrum tincture and started to see really good results. The child was like, trying to say mommy and daddy, and they had never had that before. So that was probably for me the most heart-touching one, seeing that benefit. Sadly, it didn't have that great of an end, which goes back to this same stigma. They ended up going to the doctor, and that was an issue, that THC was being found in her system. Even though it wasn't enough to get her high, it was causing some issues, I think, with the county and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
ultimately they ended up going a different route, but that was hard to see because they had reached out and started to go this way, and it was working. So, but the fact that it was working was pretty awesome to witness.
We've seen great results in children with autism too, nonverbal and
Yeah.
verbal too. What
Yeah,
about you, man?
One of my best friends does CBD salve on his daughter's back. She's got autism, and he said that it works wonders for her too. So I'll use a different example, and it's one that kind of hits close to home. It's my manager at the Grow and our GM for LongLeaf's retail division and distribution and all that. Their mother's been battling cancer off and on for the past, pretty much since I hired them on. That and Crohn's and a couple other things. So to see her come into the store in remission and saying D8 is literally the thing that is saving her right now. I mean, that's just one of the things on the market. I can give several examples of D9 as well, but I mean, even me in my everyday life, instead of taking like an anxiety medicine or a stress reliever or something like that, Smoking a little bit is probably the best cure, and it's probably gives you the most clarity out of it too.
Yeah, I gotta agree, man. It saved my life in so many ways, and continues to. But it's important to keep talking about these things because a lot of people think we're there, we've made it, it's legal, we have access. What is the big deal? Whatever, and people don't realize we're still fighting for the little bit we do have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with a stroke of a pen, it could be gone.
Every day.
Or a policy, or somebody decide they want to enforce something. I mean, it's but I can't tell you in 3 years of in this legal hemp industry, I can't tell you one bad story of anybody getting sick or having never anyone dying ever. No harsh reaction ever. And then you got the FDA that puts out this article 2 weeks ago talking about 5 harmful things
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
of Delta 8, and one of them was
And it
it's
was
not
all-
FDA approved.
Yeah.
One of them was it actually
Really?
works and gives you a buzz or a high.
Yeah.
And then you read on to it and you realize they've cited 22 people for this article that basically had slight discomfort and ended up in the hospital because they thought they
Having a
got
panic
too high.
attack.
They were having a
22
panic-
out of how many millions?
yeah, out of
people, right?
millions, right? And then the only thing that made sense out of the whole article that is really detrimental to your health is knowing where these products come from and make sure they're tested.
And
Yeah.
if the FDA would step up, then
Right.
that wouldn't be an issue.
But right.
So,
And they
them
wonder
write
why
an article about it.
the government doesn't trust them. But look, I guess what I want you to take from this and all these shows, this is great. We're living the dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I
and,
went from
and we
corporate
love
life
it.
to this.
And trust me, it's not as profitable as you think. It's money's good, but it's a struggle. It's hard out here. But you take that and the government's trying to take away from you. You still got people sitting in prison for the same plant, people still getting their property taken, people still catching charges, clogging our jails, clogging our law enforcement, police officers where they can't go do their jobs and fight
Heroin busts.
heroin busts and real crime, violent murders and
Child
rapes and
sex crimes,
everything.
stuff like that.
So, we're not there. And get involved. Understand who your representatives are. Ask them how they feel on this. Tell them how you feel and do your homework. Come to any of these stores. Come to these guys' stores. Find somebody in the industry. Google it, whatever. Nothing but beneficial things are coming from this plant, and we're still fighting for it. We're still trying to, get mainstream banking, mainstream processing, just being treated like a normal business, having access to funds and normal business things.
To not be a criminal when you're going to put money in your bank or feel like you're doing something wrong.
It's crazy. And like literally at every turn, we're hanging on by a thread right now on social media, Google and whatever, because we get turned in by people or their algorithm or whatever.
Just got out a month on Facebook.
My face, hey man, I'm doing
For
a
that
hard
taffy,
time
right?
too. But, right, but it's crazy. We're talking about a natural product that's been here for millions of years, and never killed anyone, and we're still fighting for it. So understand, as we bring you these shows and these guests and everything, we are still living in the gray area. It is, we need more regulation, but regulation to help the industry, not hurt it. And we need more laws to change to give us more access. These are life-saving medicines that most people in the United States can't get because all they hear is it's illegal, and that's all they need to hear. They won't try it beyond that. I've seen people on their deathbeds that THC or cannabis would change their whole outlook or maybe their outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're just because of that legality, they won't try it on their deathbed. And if that's not the power of propaganda,
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know what is. So, I don't leave it at that. But get involved and understand. North Carolina especially is at the end of this fight.
Mm-hmm.
We probably will be number 50 with access.
Maybe
honestly,
even 51.
maybe even 51. But we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute. To find these products, you can definitely find them in our stores. But if you don't come to our store, where can we find these things?
You can find them at 1308 South Hawthorne Road, Winston-Salem, or Cooper Lake Cannabis at the intersection of West Clemensville and Ebert Road, or at www.longleafpro.com or cooperlakecannabis.com.
Or any of your Crown Town Cannabis stores are online. But come check us out. We are now at 119 Country Club Drive Northeast in Concord. We're also at 610 Hardin Street in Columbia, South Carolina, and 2419 Central Avenue, the OG. We are also online, cltcbd.com, and we'll be moving over very soon to Crown Town Cannabis and an all-new website, crowntowncannabis.com. We got a placeholder out there right now, but our whole new website will bring all new technology and availability, and hopefully allow us to say and do more things on our website without Shopify
Nice.
shutting us down. So working on all that, but man, guys, keep kicking ass.
No, thank you for having this media platform to
For
get
sure.
this stuff out here, because this needs to be out in the open, discussed in public a little bit more. So
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks, man. We're gonna try to, and anybody out there listening, hey, if you got a story to tell, cannabis related or otherwise, like said, Salem Organics, hey guys, come on up, Chris, and come see us, man. We need to have a smoke off anybody. There's the fire truck.
Hey, I've been waiting for the
Yeah.
ashtray the whole time.
Yeah, no, I know, man. We just ask you anywhere in here. But, there's a fire truck up in Winston-Salem now. The guy that where he has the fire truck, party truck or whatever.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
ride around, and I think we all need to rent that thing out and have a smoke
I'm
off.
still
do
waiting.
it.
I'm still
let
waiting for
Basel-
side by sides.
Marcel go record it for us. Yeah, that's all right. We got it. But we need. Hey, it's fall. We can do it without sweating to death.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I say we make it happen, man. But thank you guys, both of you, for being on, man. Keep pushing the industry. I need to get my hands on some of these gummies you talking about.
I'm gonna get you right here in a
Yeah.
second, man.
But anyway, check us out, guys. letsbeblunt.org. You can find us on all the social medias platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Also, YouTube. We're going to keep pushing it. If you're somebody in the industry, you want to get your product known, tell your story, we want to have you on. We're all about advocacy and education first and foremost. And if we make a little change doing it, it's okay too.
Yeah.
But as always, guys, peace and love in cannabis. And we love you, and continue to support us and all of us in the industry. And we got a long way to go, but it's been a beautiful journey, and we've come a long way. So thank you all. Have a great weekend. See you
Thanks.
next week.